Have you not listened to your elders, my friend?
I've listened to the elder, but I don't listen to.
Okay, you have.
Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Right Between the Eyes podcast, a KISS podcast with 3 generations of KISS fans telling you why we love it loud. I'm one of your hosts, Rob Myers, and welcome to episode 63, and I'm reading from my screen here, returning to Rosemont 1 year later. Before we get into the episode, let me go through all the social medias. You can find us at Facebook at facebook.com/rightbetweentheeyes podcast. We're on Instagram. You can email into the show at rightbetweentheeyespodcast@gmail.com, and we will read those on the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. And if you are listening to any of your podcasts through your audio podcast catchers, rate and leave a review, and we will also read those on the show. Like I said, I'm one of your hosts, Rob Myers. Nick and Nikko will be here in various orders throughout the show. More on that in just a second. Actually, you'll see it as it happens live on the show. This is an intro into this episode 63. Nick, Nikko, and I say it in the episode. This has been a rather odd year for this podcast. We've had a lot of ebbs and flows with the podcast, so we want to get that out there right away. We completely missed the month of November just due to schedules. So this episode is going to kind of make up for it because we're probably pushing the 2-hour mark with this episode. But if you've clicked on this, this is our 1-year anniversary, and I can't even believe this is coming out on the day that the 3 of us, the whole entire Rosemont, the Road to Rosemont, if you watch those episodes or listen to those, that all of us saw our very last KISS show on November 27th, 2023. We are here exactly 1 year later. And this is just a opportunity for the whole crew with Xander. Jeb is unable to make this episode. Brant, Emily, myself, Nick, and Nikko all getting together in a room in our minds. We're all returning to Rosemont to just reminisce what of our thoughts and feelings after 365 days have passed since we saw our last KISS concert. What are the feelings? What have we been doing since? Are there other bands that we're following live, or what are our interests? What have our KISS shows been like? And how we all are getting a chance to, some of us have done other guest hosting on each other's shows. Some of us were reconnecting again for the first time since being in Rosemont together. But we thought this would be a nice episode for all of you to catch up with all of us together in one air quote room and just have a hang after arguably all of our best and favorite time of being a KISS fan is the lead up to this Rosemont show that we all went to a year ago. COVID, all of that, and then Paul's kind of health scares leading up to our Rosemont show, and what was it like day of. This is kind of like a round table. There is really no question as thoughts and ideas were coming into my head, some organically and some you can see me fumble with, but this was just a chance for all of us to get back together and talk about our last live concert, seeing the band on their last tour, and even a comment Paul made recently about, well, we discussed that a little bit too, but this is all Rosemont, all of us traveling back together 1 year later to reminisce and celebrate our last KISS concert together. So Emily, Brant, myself, Nick, Nikko, and Xander, here we go.
Chicago, you wanted the best. You got the best, the hottest band in the world, Kiss!
There we go. And then I'll edit out. I'll pull in Emily.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Emily. How are you, Emily?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well. It's
Doing
been
well.
a year.
I know. I know.
I had some stuff popping up on my like photos, like remember
Yeah.
when and memories and stuff, and yeah, it's crazy that it's already been a year. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Crazy to even think about.
Crazy.
I need to go back and look at the timeline and go, what were we doing? Were they on the road, or they were still playing shows at the 20th, right? Or was this Paul's sick phase that he was in?
No, Paul just got over it, remember? He just got over it because they canceled 2 dates in Canada.
That's
and then
right.
I think they had one in Indiana, was it? Indiana and Kentucky and then us?
Yeah.
And then something like that. And when he was sick, I'm like, okay, that's it. They're gonna cancel everything leading up to until New York. I was very convinced we weren't gonna go for very
Same.
legit. I wrote in my tour book what dates they canceled. I do refer to the canceled shows.
Yeah, you're right. 18th and 19th were done. So
Okay,
yeah,
so they canceled 20th, 1st in Ottawa, 22nd in Toronto, and then they canceled Knoxville as well.
gotcha. Okay. So the next one would have been the 25th, Indianapolis, and then everything was okay.
Yep, and then we flew in on the 26th, and then we met up with you guys on the 27th, the morning of the 27th. We went and had pizza.
Yeah,
with the Carusos and Scott, and then we went to the show
and froze.
and froze to death. Literally froze to death.
Like
I
didn't bring a heavy coat because I thought it was just going to be okay. It's a 5-minute dash from the car to the venue. I can do it. I live in Chicago. I can do it. But the fact that they did not open the doors when they said they did, and they let us stand out there for like 10 minutes, it was freaking ridiculous.
We were outside. We'll probably say this again during the show. We were outside 40 minutes, 45. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me look at some timestamps here. So
there he is.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
We're just treating this. I'm recording right now, and I'll splice.
Oh, that's perfect.
This is just like people are.
Emily, how are you, hon?
I'm good. How are you?
How's your mom, dad? Everybody good?
Oh yeah, good. My mom, she had a hip replacement in June.
Okay.
Yeah, June, and I thank God she is now okay, and for the first time ever, she can walk without
Fantastic.
a limp. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. That takes time to heal. You can't rush a hip replacement, that's for sure. What's going on? Everybody good? Mr. Rob, how you doing?
We're doing good. I haven't seen you in a minute, brother.
It's been forever, man. It's crazy. We'll get back on track. I blame my son more than anybody. He's
I do too.
hard.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, we have to blame Nikko because he's like the hardest working guy in show business right now. He's just never around, you know. But he's gonna try to pop on later, I think, because he had if he does. If not, we'll be good.
We'll be good. Yeah.
Brant, how you doing, sir?
I'm good, hanging in there. Still
Yeah.
recovering from the storm a little bit, but we're hanging in there.
Yeah, I'm in. Okay.
It's going to take us a while to get back to normal.
I bet, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So our county's really weird because on one end of the county, it's kind of Piedmont area, like rolling foothills. And then as you go on up into our county, you're literally up in the mountains.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird layout. And yeah, the flood really, really did us bad. But people are starting. Hey, Xander. People are starting to get back to normal lives, at least in our county.
That's awesome.
But
He was
west
just
of
filling
us
us
and
in how
northwest
bad
of us,
everything is, still.
the
in his neck
hurricane
of the woods
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awful. Is this us, the 5 tonight?
Yep, this will be 5.
The 5. That's good.
5, and if Nikko sits in,
he's going to try to pop in. I'm pretty sure he's going to try, but again,
so
if he doesn't.
at least on the screen, Brant and I are kind of in our sections. Brant is almost dead center. I'm just in my section.
Yeah.
Emily needs to scooch over, and although you and Jeb were in 2 different locations.
Yeah, you guys bounced around a little bit.
I can actually kind of see us right in the middle, right behind Paul. We're in the back there. You can almost see us in the back.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yes, so Rob, you were asking about how long we were outside, Rob. My first picture I took when we got out of the car, I took a picture of the side of the venue at 3:00. And then the first picture I had where we walked inside there, I took video. You were taking video in front of me, and that was at 3:46. So we were outside about 45 minutes.
I thought
in that freezing cold.
It was cold, man. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
It was freezing.
I love cold openings of the show, and I think that is literally the cold opening. So I've been recording ever since Emily had popped on. So I'm treating this as everybody's arriving at the arena and we're all in the same place.
That's awesome.
So I'm just going to count us in 3, 2, Rosemont. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 63 of Right Between the Eyes podcast. It doesn't matter if it's this podcast. We are returning to Rosemont. If we could have planned it, we would have just all been sitting in an empty arena. There's probably a game or something going on tonight. So this is as close as we can for 1 year later, returning to Rosemont. And I had started having the idea, and I think Xander had sent me a message like, are we going to do a 1 year anniversary? And I was like, yes, of course we are. So
absolutely, we have to, right?
Yeah. So this is going to kind of be like one of our classic roundtable episodes. The topic is just going to be Rosemont. It's going to be us reminiscing about it. And 365 days have gone by since we have seen our last Kiss episode. We're recording this peek behind the curtain on the 20th, but this will be released on Wednesday, the 27th. So we've all seen our last Kiss concert ever, unless you're reading headlines from Paul lately, where he's like, oh, I think maybe we could do a one-off. Like, somebody's going to get throat punched, Paul. Like, I don't. Yeah. That's probably a podcast in and of itself. And I can hear my wife going, I told you, it's never going to be the end. So
the never-ending road.
Same thing my wife said. Same thing my wife said. When I told her that news the other day, she's like, see, I told you.
So as you can see, you'll see an image of this, the photo that's behind us. I'll put it up on screen without our ugly mugs up here, of the photo that the band took of us at Rosemont. And I know all of our geographic locations and everything. So that'll be something that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I was looking up some stats, and approximately it was 18,000 plus was here at the arena. So they were basically considering it a sellout. It's like 99 point change or whatever. Mm-hmm. And of course, this would be 4 from the end of getting to New York on November 2nd. But let's rewind the clock all the way back. And I want to say there was 250 shows on this tour, 13 legs of this tour. And thanks to COVID, all of the starts and stops and almost complete cancellation of the tour at one point. So let's go back to when did you first see Kiss on this tour? And I know for some of us that it is this one, but how many shows did you see on this tour? And when the end of the road was first announced, what was your anticipation of going, this is going to be the end, and just your thoughts around that? Let's start down with Mr. Caruso.
Yeah, I think I went to 4 and my son went to 5 because I missed one in Milwaukee. So the very first ones we saw were we did a back-to-back night where we saw Chicago United Center and then we drove up to Milwaukee to see the second one. It was it never felt like it was going to be the end, even though I knew it was going to be end back in those early shows. It just didn't feel like it because I think Nikko and I had talked a lot about how during the shows, Paul wasn't really talking like it was the end. Not like our show, which we'll get to, like the one that we all saw. So it just felt like it was the beginning of the end, but there was always going to be a lot more. And it's funny when you think about it because there really was a lot more. But it was pretty cool to go to those first 2 shows. The back-to-back nights were a lot of fun because and I actually, I'm wrong about it. We were actually in Milwaukee first, and then the Chicago was the second night because Nikko and I had we partied a little bit. We had a lot to drink in Milwaukee, and I remember being a little hungover coming back and wondering if I was going to be able to muster up the energy for that second night in Chicago. But we took my daughter, and Nikko took one of his old roommates, and it was electric. I mean, it was great.
That's
Xander.
awesome.
Xander, how about you?
So I think Jeb and I ended up seeing in total 9 on this tour. Our first one was March 2019 in Louisville. And funny because, Nick was just saying there was a lot more. So in the beginning, you're not really sure how much is a lot. So we thought that getting 3 sets of tickets for the March show in Louisville, and then there was a back-to-back shows in Cincinnati and Indianapolis. And we thought, okay, we're going to see 3 shows. That's going to be it. Perfect. And then, of course, 6 months later, we saw Fort Wayne. After COVID shut everything down, we were in Tinley Park and, so on and so forth. So, but really in the beginning of the tour, before it was even announced, I was kind of in denial because if you guys remember, they did the trademark thing and there was rumors floating like, oh my gosh, they trademarked End of the Road. Like it's going to become a thing. So they said they were going to have some big announcement on America's Got Talent. And Jeb goes, they're going to announce the end. I said, no, what? No, they haven't done their new album yet. They got to do a new album, a tour for that. And then come on, guys, right? And so he's like, no, I think tomorrow's going to be it. And so we sat there and listened as Paul said, we're about to go out on our last tour ever. If you have seen us, come see us one more time. If you've never seen us, now's your chance. Good night. We love you. And it was like, it's real now. He just announced it. So we immediately got those first 3 sets of tickets and saw those shows. But yeah, it became clear, especially after the pandemic, that, it was important that we see as many shows as possible. And so how incredible it was to just be in Rosemont with all of you guys. And real quickly, I wanted to mention this because, first of all, do you guys notice my shirt?
Yeah.
A shirt you can no longer get, and a hat you can no longer get.
That's a collector's item.
This is a rare shirt that only very few people have, and I'm proud to say that I am one of them. But anyway, so what was I saying? It was really good to see you guys in. Oh yes, okay. So I just thought of this before the show. Daphne and I. She goes, I hope you guys have a good time. Tell everybody I said hi. So Daphne says hi to everybody. And we were sitting there talking, and she was like, I hope you have a good show with everybody from the Rosemont Crew. And I was like, yep, Rosemont, the Council of the Rosemont. And so we had a moment like, we made a joke. We made it funny because we've been doing nothing but the Elder on our show. So we did a 2-part Elder episode. So with the Council of the Rose, the Order of the Rose, I thought, we're the Order of the Rosemont. Anyway, all in all, it was an amazing tour, especially being able to end it in Rosemont with you guys, meeting up before and after the show. Just incredible. I still look back on those as great memories. I watched a little bit of that episode before this just to kind of remember a little bit and have some good feelings. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we're here doing it again, talking about it 1 year later.
Yeah. Emily, how about you?
Okay, so first of all, it's so lovely and charming to see all of you again. And when Paul announced on America's Got Talent. My mom and I were watching because they're like, "Oh, Kiss doesn't really appear on TV nowadays. It's kind of a big thing that they are." And when Paul said, "Well, this is going to be our final tour," and I look at my mom and I'm like, "You hear what he's saying?" And then he said, "If you haven't come, just like what you said, Xander, if you haven't seen us, now's your chance. If you have, come see us again." I'm like, "I've never gone. We have to go." And my mom's like, "Emily, I don't think Paul really means what he's saying." I'm like, "But you just heard him say this is the final time to go," and she's like, "No, I don't think so. Come on, Paul. This is Kiss we're talking about. Gene and Paul will never retire." And I'm like, "Well, we gotta go. I've never gone. I've been begging to go since 1998. Since I've been 2 years old, I've been wanting to go. You didn't take me in 2000. You didn't take me, even though I tried to go." And she's like, "Okay, well, let's see." And I have to give credit where credit is due. My now former cousin-in-law, Ron, he's the one who gave us a code to get in to the United Center show sales early, and we were able to get really good tickets, good seats for a good price. And we went to that show in the United Center, and that was just really fun. It was fun for my mom. She was very, very excited because that had been 19-year gap for her. So she got to go back, but she got to the more fun part for her was going with me. And then we went to the Tinley Park show, and I'm kind of like a germaphobe, so I wore a Kiss mask, and I have a photo of it. But I was dancing to "Do You Love Me" at the end, mask and all. I'm like, I don't care if all of you people are not having fun. I'm gonna have fun because this could be the last time ever. It wasn't, but I was acting like it. And then, of course, the fact that I found out all of you guys were going to the Chicago show, because we had planned to go anyway, because we kind of figured we were going to go to the last ever Chicago show. And it was just something that I think I'll treasure for the rest of my life, because we ended up going with my mom's very good friend, who was also named Sandy. And I was actually flower girl in her wedding in like 2003. But it was just really fun because one of my friends could not make it, so she went instead. And we just had so much fun. And then it was just like the cherry on top to go with all of you guys and meet up. So I look back so fondly. I'm so grateful for all those memories.
Brant brother.
Let's see. So this was my first show that I saw on the tour, and it was actually the first Kiss show I'd seen since the Revenge tour. No. It was the first show I'd seen since the farewell tour. So I'd not seen Kiss in a very long time. You guys know, love it or hate it, I'm a little bit of a purist. So, but I do appreciate all eras, and I have said on my show and on probably several of you guys' shows that I have developed. I developed a little bit of fondness for the last era of the band. I wished I'd seen more shows, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But I remember when they announced that they were going out, that this was going to be the final tour. And I remember them trademarking the end of the road. I remember the announcement, and then all the speculations. I've got a lot of videos, and it's funny because those videos now are 5 years old. It's crazy to even think that those videos are 5 years old now. And we're speculating, was Ace and Peter going to be a part of the show? Or are they just going to be, all the speculations that we were all doing at the very beginning? Was it going to be a celebration of almost like a Vegas type show where it had acts, and there was so much speculation going on, and it was fun. That was fun to speculate. And then, we got what we got, and I'm not meaning that in a bad way. I'm just saying we got what we got, and for the most part, we got it. There was some set changes, but we got it pretty much for 5 years. But I enjoyed the show. It was awesome. Honestly, like I told you guys, if all of you had not been coming together if I'd not met, Rob and Xander and Emily and all you guys, and we weren't all going to try to be in the same place at the same time. I don't know if I'd have even gone. I probably would have just watched the final show, because I knew soon at some point in time they would do a pay-per-view. This is Kiss. I know them. We all know them. And sooner or later there would have been a pay-per-view, and there was a pay-per-view. And I'm glad I actually went and saw it in person, because my experience in Rosemont was better than the pay-per-view. The band was better, I think, in Rosemont, and the crowd in Rosemont was better, I believe. We all talked about that, not trying to get ahead of everything, but we all talked about how just magical the band was that night, how on fire they were, how on fire the crowd was. It was a good, energetic crowd. And but yeah, I'm still processing that it's over. A year later, I'm still processing that it's over. It's just hard to believe that it's already been a year. It seems longer and shorter all at the same time.
Yeah. For me, I saw 5 shows on this tour, and I was much like you, Emily. I'm begging my mom back in '89 that I want to go see Kiss, and like, no, I'm not going to go see Kiss. And so I had to buy my own tickets with my best friend in '92 for the Revenge show. And it was always that joke, like after graduating high school, like, Mom, you going to buy me a Kiss, a Kiss tickets? And she was always like, yeah, one day. Well, the one day happened for Christmas of the year before I was supposed to see them. I got tickets, and Mom's like, here, they're on their end of the road tour. And I was just like flabbergasted, like, whoa, I can't believe that I got tickets. And my wife, had known about it. And then that was supposed to be the Clarkston, Michigan show. And then COVID happened. And then it just became this long thing of my mother going, I waited too long. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'll have the keepsake of the tickets if I never get to see them. It's the show that, never happened, or whatever. But then things started going around. So I actually saw Toledo's show first, and then I saw, Clarkston, because the whole tour itinerary after COVID, things were constantly shifting back and forth. And I got to see 2 birthdays on this tour. Jean's 72nd birthday. Xander and I happened to be in Dayton together with Daphne. So we got to be there for Eric Singer's birthday, and Eric walks in the room that we're in, and the 3 of us are like, oh, that's Eric Singer, as fanboyish as we could probably be, but still be chill,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Composure. Keep your composure.
Right, composure. But this is going to lead into the next question. Now, this was something on our show that our whole show was kind of birthed out of COVID. We've told it before that the 3 of us were on a Batman centric hangout, and I see Nikko wearing a Kiss t-shirt. I'm thinking, kid's probably a poser. Probably can't name one Kiss song, ha ha ha. And then we have this whole discussion. So we do a one-off show on a satellite network, and then we start talking about, well, do you want to try and do a Kiss podcast and what it could kind of look like? And then I discovered Brant's channel and then Xander's channel right around the same time. Emily, yours will come just a little bit later, but not that much longer, because COVID, you're just searching for anything since none of us can do anything. But something for our show, this idea of if they ever get back out there and playing again, maybe we'll all meet up. We'll pick a place. And that was just kind of like the thing, like, is it going to happen? I would talk to the wife, like, they're in Chicago, where are we going to draw a map and go, okay, we're all going to meet right here. You drive equal distance. And that was just the kind of thing that we started talking about. And then this like community started to grow amongst all of our channels. So I really think that, the Rosemont, it was the culmination of all this, but I really feel connected to everyone on the screen, ironically, through COVID and the restart of this tour coming out the next year. And the long-winded question is, once the tour restarts, I felt like from the time the tour started, we were getting content, we were getting documentaries, we were getting off the soundboard, anniversary releases. And I feel like everybody's channels just really started to explode and really started to grow. So my long-winded question is, how is your channel it's been more active through the tour, but like what are some of your favorite memories leading up to Rosemont? Let's start with Brant on this one.
Well, I had some videos that I love doing. I had some controversial videos was about Paul lip syncing. And honestly, I got to the point where I just let it go. But in the beginning, whenever I found out that Paul was lip syncing, it kind of really pissed me off to begin with, because Gene and Paul had been so outspoken about people that had done that in the past and saying, if you can't do it, why are you even touring? And they'd been really outspoken about it. And I was like, you dang hypocrites. Yeah. But we all know that Paul needed it. And I just got to the point where, hey, I really didn't care, but the videos got views and put a little money in my pocket at Paul's expense. So I did a few of them. Hey, shamelessly, I'm going to admit it. I did a few of them. But then it just got to the point where it was just, I had people constantly DMing me, hey, have you seen this video? He's doing it. And I'm like, okay, my channel's not going to be a bash Paul channel. I say my pros and cons and my opinions of pros and cons towards Kiss on my channel, and on any channel that I'm on. I always be very respectful, and I try to match the energy of whatever channel I'm on, and I always try to be very respectful for the people who have honored me to be on their channel. So I do try to match energy on that, but my channel, my rules when I'm on my channel. So, but I didn't want it to become a bashing Paul, bashing Kiss channel or video, focused videos. That's not what I'm about. Even though there was a lot of people trying to put a hook in my nose and pull me that way. But I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to become a Kiss bashing channel. But I think the biggest thing, of the only person that I knew, I would say, and you guys can correct me, is the first person that in the community that I hooked up with was probably Rick. And then Emily, I think I knew you before I knew the rest of these guys too. I knew you from you and your mom watching my channel. And then of course I met Rob and met Nick and Nikko through that, and then met Xander shortly after that. But to me, it was just the videos that I was in with you guys and the videos that we were in talking about this band that we love, and sometimes, love to hate, not hate, but just love to be frustrated with. But that to me is the best of whatever videos, the laughs we've shared. It would be incredibly difficult to do, but there's a part of me that's I'm feeling a little nostalgic. And there's part of me that just kind of wants to go back through videos that I've been in with other people and pull some, kind of like you see after a show's been on a while, they'll have one of those episodes where they just show like some of the best of clips.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like I've been kind of thinking about doing something like that. And I've actually started doing the homework on that, going and kind of just scrubbing through some videos and just watching, because there's memories I know I've got in my head where we've just had the biggest laughs, people that's on the screen now, and also with Rick and other guests that I've had on my channel in the past. And I've started, and I'm wrapping down my long-winded answer, but I've actually even started I've got some other people in in the community that were part of my channels, and I see them being as viewers of you guys' channels as well, that have started reaching out to me saying, hey, it's been a while since we haven't been in a video together, and I'd really like to be in a video again sometime. If you can think of something that we could do. And the feeling as I'm getting is they're feeling that withdrawalness and that little bit of that vacuum, that there's not content filling that vacuum now. So coming from the band, so they're feeling a little bit in that void, in that vacuum. So so you may be seeing some videos coming out of me with people that's been in videos that's not been in videos for a while. So who knows? We'll see what 2025 brings.
Emily, what's something that as the tour started up until Rosemont that you're like some of your like highlights Just it could be content that Kiss put out or things that you've done.
Okay, well, I started making videos because Brant invited me to be on his channel, and then I just started doing these like little 5-minute things like, oh, today there's like 50 days till the Kiss concert. I've never been before, and I've wanted to do this for 25 years. That type of thing. Like, it started as that, well, I'm gonna make these like little video diary things, so when I'm like really old, or when Kiss is no longer a thing one day, I'll look back and say, oh, I was glad I took the bull by the horns and did something to be active. And so to me, like videos, pictures, tweets, social media, that's all like a time capsule to me. So I think doing these videos and talking with all of you guys, meeting all of you guys, because let's be honest, if we were all like just at like a social function, I don't know how well we would all connect until somebody would open their mouth and say, "Hey, are you anybody a Kiss fan here?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me doing like videos. I mean, I was in Disney World in 2023 when they announced like the final 50 dates or something, and I did like a 2-minute thing from Disney World. I didn't have a stand to put my camera in. I just held my camera up here. I'm like, "Hi everyone, I'm in Disney World, and I heard the news about Kiss when Kiss was on Howard Stern, was it? Was that on
Yeah.
Howard
Yeah,
Stern?
they were right. They
Yeah.
were on Howard Stern.
Okay, so when that, and I'm like, I heard everything that Paul said, and I can't really talk about it right now because my arm is hurting, and just fun things like that, I think is really something to look back and smile about. I mean, I did the last video that we did before Rosemont. I was at my cousin's house, and I put her dog in the video. I mean, just doing crazy things like that at that moment in time, knowing that this is going to happen, knowing that Kiss is still here. Because there will be fans in the future who do not get this opportunity to do this, or they didn't have that opportunity. They became fans after the band ended, and they're like, oh, I never got to see a concert. I didn't get to see Paul or Gene or anybody in concert. And I feel really lucky and grateful for that. So I think just doing this, talking about it, being in the moment, making the memories, that was the best part for me.
Yeah. Nick, what about you from the time that we started the show up until Rosemont?
I mean, it was such a vibrant time to be a Kiss fan. And it was like, I've had 3 stages, I think, in my life of Kiss fandom. It was the beginning when I first discovered them as a young guy. It was the reunion shows, which were, for me, the best Kiss shows I've ever seen. But I don't think anything really tops when we started the show and the last leg of the tour, because there was something going on constantly, from not only the point that a couple years before the final leg, they put out all that content, all the off the soundboards and the box sets and the anniversary albums. It's just that every night, like, it was like there was always a tweet. There was always they're here. There was always the best thing was the set list speculation, which we knew would never change, but we still kept looking at it every night. I would still go to Setlist FM and just think, and Rob, me, you, and Nikko, we would just always be like, you think they're going to do something different, or they're going to, but it was just, and then the greatest thing was meeting everybody here, because for the first time in my life, I had somebody besides my son. I had a whole community of people that embraced what I did and felt what I did. But I've never felt so alive and so exuberant of being a Kiss fan. And it was like the gift that kept giving every night, every week. And since, and it all culminated in that wonderful night, which was, it not many things in life live up to what you think they're going to be. It's just right. The way it is. It doesn't mean it's good or bad, but that far exceeded my expectations of meeting everybody. The cold, even as cold as it was, played a significant part in like just the torture of being outside. And then when we got in and saw the sound check and everybody, I mean, I can't tell you how elated and how wonderful the whole thing was. And I have had a void with them since. Yeah. It's been, and it's probably designed that way, but for me, it's been like it's been like losing a friend. Not us here. I'm talking about the band itself.
Yeah.
it's been like, you're friends with somebody and then you just don't talk to them or you don't hear about them too much anymore. And actually my last experience with them with the pay-per-view was disappointing. And I'll never forget Rosemont. That was the greatest ending I could have had. And it worked out perfectly. But the pay-per-view and all that kind of left me a little sour on them. And I kind of need them to make it up to me a little bit somewhere down the road. I think they will. And if they don't, we always have Rosemont. And I've got this band who, and I never hate them, but it's like Brant said, there's a lot of things they do. You scratch your head, you wonder, you get aggravated, but it's been a wonderful. Kiss has been such a big part of my life, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Xander, what about you from before Rosemont?
So, well, similar to your guys' show, ours is also a COVID show. When COVID shut everything down, I felt like when the end of the road started, there was all this momentum where it was like, the tickets and the shows. And like you said, Setlist FM, there's the official Kiss Facebook page and YouTube channel. We're always uploading footage from last night's show or tonight's show, whatever. And it was like all this momentum. And then with the pandemic, everything kind of just, shut down. Everything was just came to a halt. And when they did the Kiss 2020 goodbye in Dubai, that's what got us to do our show, because it was like, if Kiss can go out and put together, against all odds, put together this big of a show in this grandiose of fashion, and give us a night of rock and roll, then, we as fans can get up and do something and give back to either the band's not watching, but just give back to the legacy and give back to the fans and, start to, create our show. And so through that, once the pandemic came back, to get to the actual answer now, one of the things that looking back on, I'm really thankful for are all the concert reviews that we did on our show. We did, our first one was the Tinley Park show, and then we did the Louisville Louder Than Life Festival, the Dayton concert, Indianapolis, and then we all got together in Rosemont. And the cool thing about that was obviously you're capturing your thoughts and your memories as soon as possible, because I look back at the shows, from when I was a teenager and a young adult, and yeah, I have my pictures, but you can't remember everything, and so when I go back and I listen to and watch all these clips of Daphne, Jeb, and I talking about the shows, it's like, oh, I forgot all about that. I'm so glad that we did that show review, that concert review, because now I get to, all these things that happened. They were fresh in my memory then, not now, but I can go back and watch those. And so even before this, recording this today, when I was watching the Rosemont show that we all did, just to kind of refreshen up, there were all these moments that happened that I was like, I can remember that, or I was like, oh, that was awesome. And so I like being able to go back and look at that stuff. Brant, I think you made a very similar comment earlier about wanting to create that compilation video of all your appearances. You have all these memories in your head. By the way, earlier you said you have all these memories in my head. I was like, ha ha ha. He said in my head. That's the name of his channel. But no, you're right. There's all these memories. Yeah, right. Exactly. There's all these memories that we can have, preserved because of technology, because of things like this. So yeah, I'll always be grateful for the concert reviews that we did. And it makes me wish that I had started the show earlier, because Kiss Army thing started when I was in like high school, like a senior in high school, but we didn't start the show Kiss Army things until I was well out of college. So I wish I would go back. I wish I would have gone back and started the show earlier, but I'm so thankful to have done it when I did and been able to, of course, again, get together with all of you guys in Rosemont, because that was the ultimate concert review.
Oh yeah. Mine would just be like piggybacking off of what Nick said. Was, I had a Robin superhero of Batman and Robin podcast for quite a while. And, we're just, comic book geeks and stuff like that. But in the back of my mind, there was always this music idea. Like it's got to be a Kiss show. And even one of us on the show, we had a satellite Batman and Robin show, and we would review a Kiss song. I think we started with the first album. We got up to like Nothing to Lose and maybe Deuce. And it didn't go any farther, but that started putting the seed of going in there, like this would be really kind of cool. And then hooking up with the two of you guys, like having that moment of like, I really don't know the person on the screen that well, and I don't like chemistry only gets so far through a text message. So you're like, all right. And like instantly the three of us are laughing and we're talking. Like I have outtake reels of us just laughing. I'm like, I can't put a 15 minutes of us just constantly wheezing and laughing and having to start over. And just like some nights we were crying. And some of my favorite things were like, when we get off this call, Kiss is going to announce the next off the soundboard, or they're going to announce the next thing. And like without fail for like episodes after episodes, I'd be texting the next morning. Like, I think I almost killed Nick in a car accident.
Rob almost single-handedly caused me to kill myself about 3 different times.
Oh my God.
Very early in the morning. So he's an hour ahead of us. Right. But I too am in my car about 7:30 Central Time. And I'm driving, and this guy, boom. And I look down, and I'm like, Destroyer box set. What? And I'm like, get back on the road, man. I'm like, what's going on? And I can't tell you, I literally, on my way to work, would pull over like in a parking lot to read his things. And then we go back and forth. And then I'm going on Kiss Online, of course. And it was Rob, it was amazing.
What?
Yes. My texting. Come on.
Speaking of Nikko, my single favorite moment on our show leading up to it is Nick bursting into Nikko's bedroom, the kid's asleep, and you yelling, Donington. Yeah, exactly. To hear Nikko go, I don't know what that means.
Exactly.
What is Donington? And that was the other thing, like the off the soundboards. If there wasn't enough talk about set lists and stuff like that,
right?
For years we were thinking like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Kiss put out, like, I've got bootlegs up the wazoo,
right?
But to have like official release stuff come out, I never thought we were going to get something like this. And all this is happening towards the back half of Kiss's career was, right. I mean, that's a lot of the mileage we got. We were doing album reviews, and then there was always this thing that we were talking about. It's the A&E documentary. They're on this show. They're doing this thing, and that moment, and then kind of going around. We got asked to be on Pasquale's show, and I remember sending a message to Nick and Nikko like, "This is big." Like, we had done Brant's show first. Like, well, that was out of blue. He was a really cool guy to get us on, and then Pasquale.
So, Rob, you're ranking Pasquale ahead of Brant, or you're
no, it was just,
it's okay. I forgive you.
Like the promotion that Pasquale was doing was out there. Unlike, okay, Brant has a channel very much like ours. We found somebody that's same wavelength or whatever.
Yes.
But the email that Pasquale sent out, like, this was like a written email, like, holy crap, who is this guy? And like, they couldn't have been cooler, and they've been on our show. Just,
it's great.
My comment was, all of these people, and getting to hear, watch Rick's channel throughout the years. And then we're talking to Rick, and all just leading up to this idea of Rosemont, which is where my next question is. So, why did you choose Rosemont? I know we answered this a year ago, but I kind of want to relive for the people that hadn't. Like, why did you choose Rosemont? And leading up to that show, what was your anticipation like? Not only for the band, because they were canceling shows with Paul's health at the time, and then we'll stop there. So just leading up to why Rosemont, and then kind of what was the atmosphere going up to it, because there'll be a part 2 in a second. Let's go back to Xander.
I chose Rosemont because of you guys. Jeb and I had no plans of seeing any more Kiss shows. We said Indianapolis the 25th. That's it. We're done. But something in the back of my mind was like, we need to go to Rosemont. And I'm trying to remember when it was, because Rob, I think you were on my show, right?
Yep.
When I said, what episode was that? Do you remember? Was it one of the Eric Singer episodes we did, or whatever? I can't remember which one it was.
Bad podcaster. I had it written down. It's on a note somewhere, and I don't know what I did with it.
For sure. Yeah. All I know is I remember thinking, you know what? Rob is going to flip his lid when I tell him that Jeb and I bought Kiss tickets to Rosemont just so we could see the three the guys right between the eyes. And then here comes, Brant, and then of course found out Emily was already going too. And so it became this, whole big thing. So yeah, we had no plans of seeing Rosemont, but I was like, I need to go to Rosemont. I want to be there with the guys. This would be a really cool way. And this is before we decided to do a show. It was just, we're all going to go, right? And see each other. So yeah, I really wanted to be able to meet you guys. Of course, I wanted to see more Kiss, but we already had seen a lot of shows and had already seen what was going to be our, again, last show, or had bought tickets for what was going to be our last show. So getting tickets to Rosemont, it just felt right. It needed to happen, and I have absolutely no regrets. I'm so glad that we did.
Let's go to Nick. The why I know is going to be very easy for you because that's where we are. But I want to piggyback before you answer really quick. We had been talking before COVID, we were thinking about the Indianapolis show, and we were even talking pre-COVID, you guys might have come to Detroit, and then all that stuff kind of got mixed up.
I would have liked to gone to Detroit. I would have gladly gone to Detroit Rock City to see him. I think the why for Rosemont, the easiest thing is we're here. This is our thing. And I think that, and I don't mean to sound pretentious like this, but I always know that I've, as many times I've seen Kiss 25 times, whatever, they always put on an incredible show in Chicago. Rosemont being obviously a suburb of Chicago. It's just special. I've watched a lot of bootlegs and seen things in Detroit. There's a few cities, obviously, where New York, but I just knew that they would put on a great show. I just knew that it was going to be good. It felt like it was a good location. Emily's here, so we had the power, we had the numbers, we had three of us here. We had you guys come to us. You guys weren't really, Brant, you're far. You're God bless you. You made the longest trek, but Xander, for you, it's not far. Rob, it wasn't that far for you either. Right. And I just felt like, I don't know. I almost wish we had a little more time because I like to entertain and I like to be a host, and, just from going and having pizza together, Rob, when you got here, and just the anticipation. I mean, that's what I really love about it. And so it really was the second or the third show to the end, right? I think then they shoehorned Baltimore in there.
Yeah,
Baltimore was not in there. Baltimore, when they originally, that show was added later on. So we were really, it was us and then New York, and then all of a sudden they added a few dates and they added Baltimore in there. So I like I said, it's a hometown thing for us, but I think that and I think, Xander, you attested, you were in Indianapolis, you said wasn't quite as raucous, right? It wasn't quite as loud, or
it seemed like Rosemont was just on another level. You know what I mean? I mean, Indianapolis was great, and there was a lot of, looking back on it, there were a lot of spontaneous things. Paul mentioning Bill Starkey, obviously that's an Indiana thing.
Right.
Paul cut his finger during, I think, Dr. Love or whatever it was, and started bleeding and made a whole thing about blood and was flicking it on Gene. So there was a few things like that. But Rosemont was like, you saw their faces. They were like, whoa, and they would pound their chest, and there was that moment where Gene and Paul kind of stood there at the end and were like, Rosemont was just another level. The crowd, the band, it was all a 14 out of 10. Yeah.
And I like to think that I could tell you I predicted that. I didn't, but I just had a feeling that it was going to be pretty special. And it really look what it turned out for us, right? It couldn't have been any better than it was.
Yeah.
110%.
Yeah. I know you had said why, Emily, but just Rosemont in general for you, why?
Okay, so honestly, my mom, it was a take or leave thing, kind of like you, Brant. Like, if I see him again, great. If I don't, I'm gonna be okay. But it was my friend who was originally gonna go with us, and he's kind of a private guy, so I'm not gonna say his name out here. But he convinced my mom to go see him again. Which is kind of interesting because he was basically on the fence about it too. He's like, well, if I see him again, whatever. But he's the one who said to my mom, you gotta go, the last show in Chicago, you have to do it. And he was originally going to come with us. But a silent shout out to my friend, you know who you are if you ever see this. But he's really the one. But anyway, this was a hometown show, the last one. And it was just really special. I think because there had been Ottawa, Toronto, and Knoxville canceled, and then they had Indianapolis, and then us. I feel like the show at Indianapolis was okay. We're back on. This is our first show back from being out from Paul being sick. But I think what made the Rosemont one special is they know how easily this all could have slipped away from them, how easily it could have just been erased and canceled. And I think they really, Paul especially, I think he really seized that moment and gave his all in that, because I think the first show back is that you're kind of working out the kinks from being sick. Okay, I'm getting re-energized. But by the time Rosemont came around, it was like, I'm back. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give the fans my all. And I think we all collectively felt that. Like, all of us were just keeping in, well, if you were paying attention, that is. And I know we were, but like other people maybe weren't at the show who weren't paying attention leading up to it. But if you were paying attention and you know how easily this all could have just been erased, I think it means that much more that this actually happened. And that we all got to be there and experience Paul's energy, sharing that with the crowd, because it was very infectious. And I don't think I've only seen 3 shows, but I think that was one of Paul's better performances that he gave on this tour in general. I definitely would say.
Now, I know why for you, Brant, because of the knuckleheads on the screen, but you actually toyed with the Knoxville show, right? Initially?
Yeah. Before we actually started, it was even mentioned anything about Rosemont. Whenever Kiss was coming around, I was looking. Whenever Kiss comes around, I always look, and whenever they would announce they were going on tour, they were adding a leg of the tour or whatever, I always would look and see, because they generally come around. I've got Knoxville a couple hours in one direction. I've got Greensboro a couple hours in another direction. I've got Charlotte a couple hours in another direction. So I'm fairly, originally being from Charlotte, I'm fairly close to a lot of places. Greenville, South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Atlanta's 3.5 hours away. So I had my pick of places I could go see them, and they played in all these places, and I'd just be like, I don't know about it. And Knoxville is probably the closest one that I came to. And I remember just looking at the tickets, seeing where the tickets were, and I'm just like, I really don't want to sit where the tickets are that I want to pay, and that where I'd like to sit, I don't want to pay that. So, like I said, when it comes to Rosemont, my tickets to get in Rosemont were $90 a person. Me and my friend Scott, it was $90 each. We were straight back in front of Gene. We were 4 rows from the back of the arena. You couldn't have got hardly further back than we were, but we had a great time. And it was about being there with the band, but it was about the Rosemont pick was about everybody that's on the screen. And it was simply just about that. It was me and my friend Scott, who I introduced to Kiss. Whenever Rick talks about him and Dan, I am Scott's Dan. In my universe, in my multiverse,
I love that.
Scott is my Rick, and I'm his Dan. And he's even said that, I'm a drummer, he was a guitarist. So, and I'm about the same age gap between the two of us that Rick and Dan has. Me and Rick's talked about that several times. But yeah, it was, I just paid what I paid to get into the building and bought the sound check, because really, honestly, what I mostly look forward to, and I to this day think I had the best time at, was sound check, because we were all together. We were on the floor. We were close. And that was just so awesome to just look down the row and see everybody just jamming along with these songs that we knew we weren't going to hear during the show. and it was almost like it's almost like our own little miniature version of Unplugged, even though we're still playing acoustic electric guitars. But it was just cool seeing them. They were all in very good spirits. Paul was in good spirits, and they were all feeling good. You could tell that Paul was on the mend from being sick. And I remember leading up to that, we did our Road to Rosemont series leading up to the show. And then like the week before, I did something I've never done before, is I put out a video every day for 7 days straight leading up to the final week before the show. And I remember when Paul was sick and we were all crapping our pants thinking we were going to get canceled. And it's like, oh, well. And then we were even talking about, well, what do we do? Do we still fly in? My tickets are bought. Well, let's still fly in and just hang out at the hotel. Well, we were talking about doing that. So, hey, there's Nikko. So it was just a really cool time. And it was all about just coming. It was about seeing the bands, yes, but it was mostly my pick to come to Rosemont was just to see you guys.
Yeah. And that was a discussion that the three of us had. And like, don't ever make decisions while you're at work. Cause I'm like trying to talk to Nikko and then I'm trying to talk to my wife to like plead the case why we chose Rosemont over Indianapolis and or Fort Wayne, I think is what it was. And like, she's like, logistically, it's closer for us to get there. And I was like, yeah, but it's the last one in Rosemont. This is where Nick saw the band for the very first time. I'm like, you can't write a better Cinderella story or a finish of an Odyssey. And then I said, it just feels like this is where this should be. And I remember driving to the show and we were listening to Kiss music and we would stop along the way. And I already had that moment of like, okay, I've met Xander and Daphne, like meeting somebody that you only see in a digital space like that. You're like, do we do awkward bro hug? Do we high five? Like, how do I interact? And my wife's like, they're human beings. You go up, you shake their hand. Like, you guys have done 50 some odd episodes together. How is this going to be hard? I'm like, I don't know. It's just going to be. So I remember getting up to the room and then coming back down and getting that text message of like, we're here. And like the lump in my throat started. I'm like, this is real. That's something good. That we've talked about for almost 3 years is going to become a reality as soon as I hop in this elevator. And as much as I was waiting for her to go, okay, nerd, she goes, you're genuinely nervous, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I feel like I know these guys, but in 30 seconds, I'm really going to know them. We're literally going to break pizza bread over one another and have a meal. And it's not like, okay, I'm going to go see the Carusos. Now Brant's here and Emily's going to be there. And it kept growing. And we had Randall end up making the drive.
Right.
So we have a whole group of people that I felt like we had this posse around, and we had our little section and we all had buttons and all, like, we made this an event. And the why we chose Rosemont was something I couldn't have even guessed at, was this weird, odd friendship that was going to start out like you said, Xander, 20 years from now or whatever, I'll be able to go back and go, oh, do you remember this? We're only looking at a year since we were all in the same place at the same time, but we're going to have this to kind of look back on beyond this. So let me kick it down to Nikko. We've been kind of talking about.
Heck yeah. Happy to be here, guys.
Yeah. So we've been talking about experiences from Rosemont. So just kind of blast through some rapid fire questions. What was it like starting the show through COVID and leading up to, like, maybe one day we'll get together and we'll meet up, and then that actually becoming a reality, and maybe what the Chicago experience and Kiss is like for you guys?
Well, it was cool. Yeah, I'm so happy to see you all. It's so cool to see all your face. Sorry I couldn't hop on a little bit earlier. It was a tough, unexpected day, but we always show up at the end, right? It was cool because, honestly, up until we met you on that awesome Three Jokers night, when I was wearing the Dress to Kill shirt, like, we didn't know another Kiss fan besides us too. So when we started talking to you and we started doing the show, it was exciting because it was they're still my favorite band. They're the band I listen to so much, and I'm like, okay, I feel like they're a group I could talk to. I never thought I would do a music podcast. I thought I would still do film, comic book stuff, but the journey was when we realized it was possible to unite like that. I think it was like when a lot of people try to get together who lives far, ideas sound great, right? Oh, we have to go to the show together. Oh, we have to get together, right? And just like time, space, money, it sometimes doesn't work out. But when you were like, you can do it, I mean, it became like all systems go. It became like it became this special journey, and then so many other great friends we met along the way who were going to be there too. We went from, like I said, 4 years ago, not having any friends who were Kiss fans to doing shows and meeting you in person and all getting to experience that last show together. It was cool. I don't know. One day I'll probably have better words for it, but for now it's just we really did that. We all did that. We were all there. Like, isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
And we'll have that forever. And, do I wish they played some different songs? Sure. But I'm glad we were all
You always got to bring that up.
I wish the Scalus was different when I was with you all. Sure. But, that's the coolest part too, is I'll say the show was it was such a good time, but it was definitely in the best way, the least exciting part of the night. It was getting to meet and hang out with all of you. That was the win. That was the night, and the show was an awesome sort of cherry on top, I'll say. I don't know if I answered your question. I think I got somewhere.
Yeah. I know we're
Good
getting
enough.
good enough. Yeah. I know we're kind of winding down now that Nikko showed up. The party's over. No,
sorry, man. I'm kind of.
He's the closer.
Yeah, we bring in the heavy hitter.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about the show itself for a moment. Just some highlights that you had. I'll start first. A highlight for me, we've been saying it this whole episode, is like singing War Machine and looking over at the corner to my right, and I can see Nick singing War Machine, and I can hear Nikko singing War Machine. Like all of us, we're all just fist pumping. That was like an out of body experience of, I keep saying it, just seeing us on the digital screen and we're all right there, or we're looking at each other during certain songs or whatever. And then getting a text and going, Xander says they're on the floor. That's funny.
Yeah. Cool.
Wait, what? And then
we're close. It's close. Look who's down on the floor. You can see Xander and Jeb right about there. Two handsome lads over there. That's right.
And then Nikko and I are like, look, they're right there. You guys are waving like crazy. And then hearing, like, you tell the story. Like, where were you guys originally? And then what was the process that went through your head that says, hey, we're going to do something?
Yeah, well, it's funny because this is exactly what I was thinking of. You were asking the question, what was one of your fun memories from the show? I was like, I got to talk about the upgrading of the tickets. So I felt like, everybody had really, really good seats at the show. Brant and Emily could see the whole stage from where they were at. You guys, the three of you, were down up front to the side. We were way up front, or way in the back, up top to the right. And we were kind of like having to cock our head, and we were all scrunched up. And the people in our section were just not there, man. It was like everybody was just, kind of like a zombie. And, we were trying to talk to some girls who were close to our age. And so we thought, maybe they're, peppy and fun. And no, they were like, yeah, hi, don't talk to us. This is our personal field, So it was just Jeb and I sitting up there like, well, I guess at least we're here. We made it, we'll see everybody after the show. I hope Amber Wild's good and, whatever. But after Amber Wild set, we're kind of looking down, and I still to this day don't understand why this was, but the last row of the floor section had nobody there.
Yeah.
It was almost like they blocked it off and had it like reserved. But we went, just for funsies, went to Ticketmaster.com, and checked, and all the seats were blue, meaning they were not sold. They were available, but they weren't sold. And we're confused, like, why is this entire row? Is this like a cursed row? If you buy one of these tickets, you're not going to make it home? Like, what the hell? So we thought, man, nobody has those tickets. We could have those tickets. And so we both checked our bank account, and I was like, yeah, I can't do it. And Jeb goes, well, you're in luck because I can do it for the both of us. And I was like, oh, my gosh.
Cool. Awesome.
So we went across the street to the box office, stood out there. You know, it's in 14-degree weather. And we get to the guy and we say, give us the best seats you have. And he goes, let me look. And, you know, kind of does his thing and then prints them off. And boom, there you go. Runs Jeb's card. And we run back in. And here's the best part, too. I don't know if I said this in the last year's episode. But when we were leaving the venue, we were trying to leave the venue to go to the box office. And every security guard kept telling us, we're not letting you back in. So if you want to go get your ticket, you can waste your money, but you've already gotten in the venue. You're not coming back in. One security guard overheard. He said, hey, Mir. I said, what? He goes, I'm going to get you guys back in, go out this door, come back to this door, knock on this window, and I'll let you in. And I said, wow, dude, you rock. So we went across the street, get the tickets, come back. We're beating on the door, and all the security guards are, sorry. Nope, you're at the wrong door. And we're like, no, please. I'm like, get that guy. And luckily he turns around and goes, oh, no, they're with me. Opens the door, lets us in, says, did you guys get the tickets? You guys good? I said, yeah, dude, we're on the floor. He goes, enjoy the show.
That's
and it was
awesome.
like, it was incredible.
That's a great story, man.
So we get there to the floor, and the first thing is like, where's Rob, Nick, and Nikko? Because I'm like, what's up, guys? No, it was really cool because, again, it felt like everybody else, I don't know, it felt like everybody else had really good seats, really good views, and then there was just Jeb and I way up top on the side with a side view, and we weren't really that close up in the front, and so I was like, man, we got to get down there with the people and get this, this full stage view like Emily and Brant, and be close like Nick, Nikko, and Rob. So it all worked out, man. We had a great time.
Nick, favorite moment?
I think the favorite moment for me was the honesty and the sheer joy that I think the band felt. Because the songs are the songs. Some were better than others. We all were singing. That goes without saying. Having you guys next to me was wonderful. But just talking about the band, I really felt like, and Nikko, you and I have talked about this a lot after watching the pay-per-view. Man, I think they really, really were moved by that Chicago audience and moved by their historical significance of the, 100 times they've played in the area. And, it just felt genuine and it felt real. And that really added to what we all had as a group. I felt like I got the best of both worlds. And it all felt fantastic to me. So the, everything us meeting aside, all that was the most important part. But the show, and I got to be honest with you, I enjoyed the sound. The sound check was absolutely spectacular because I thought you were going to do it.
I was just going to do it, Rob. I was going to do it. No.
I want to rock and roll all night. I have never.
I was going to say, I believe in me. My bad.
There you go. That's all we regret. I have never seen Kiss without the makeup. So I've, not live. Of course we've got the videos and all that. So to see those guys so up close the way we were, and again, that whole camaraderie thing with them and the warmth and their genuine happiness really started in the sound check and carried over for the whole show. So that just made everything. It was a perfect night. I mean, I can't put it to you any other way. We talk about, Nick, we were singing before you got on, even the cold. You and I were so cold, but as cold as we were, it added a little nuance to the night because it was unbearable there for a while. It really was.
Well, I thought I was going to die. So
yeah, right.
It made the show like I was reborn somehow. No, I'm kidding.
Say exactly.
Emily, favorite moment?
Oh
moments.
gosh, it's so difficult to pick a favorite moment, but I think for me, one of the best moment was just sitting there with my mom and her best friend, who I'm also close with, just sitting there in the arena, just seeing these songs played one final time live, taking it all in. Because I thought about it, I was 27 when I saw that show, and this has to carry me for the rest of my life. Like
Sure.
I think about my mom, like she's in her late 50s, and when I'm her age, this opportunity will not be there. So just having to soak it all in and not be too like have fun, but also remember to take it in as a historical moment in your personal life, I guess. And I think for me, getting some footage of me dancing in the row was very important to me because, like, again, I started dancing during Do You Love Me, and you can see in the background, nobody was having fun. Everybody was stoic. They weren't even wearing Kiss shirts, and it's like, dude, I'm the only one having fun, but you all suck, and I'm actually taking it.
I
Give it
looked
to him,
at
Emily,
your
give it
I
to
looked
him.
at your
Whoa.
footage yesterday because
Me too.
Xander and I are working on a little thing, and I was like, I had to fish of like where you were sitting at, and I saw your video going. Nobody's moving in the background. You're just having the time of your life. And there's this dude in a brown jacket, just kind of like,
Yeah. Yes.
Same planet, different world.
that's right.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, I'm gonna take this in and be active, not be passive. Just like, okay, I'm here at the Kiss concert. Like, it's not. You can tell who just goes to the show because there's a concert in town, and then you can tell the people who really this means something to them, and this is the last time they're gonna get to do it, and it's going to be there for the rest of their life. And for like Xander and Nikko, like for you and for me, it's like we're under 30 and this is our last opportunity. It has to carry us for the rest of our life. So I think being active and taking in the moment, that was the best part for me. Like, yeah, if you want to dance, go dance in the aisle. Like, just do it because you're not going to get the opportunity again.
Yeah.
Live to win.
Yes.
Very well played.
Exactly.
Yes.
Brant,
Life's a treat. It's time you taste it. Sorry, it's the last one.
You got to get all you can take.
Yeah.
Whoa!
That's uncalled for, Rob. Settle down. Brant, favorite moment or moments?
Well, with you guys, yeah, there was a lot. The eating pizza. Mr. Caruso
Pizza was so darn good.
was so gracious to purchase for us. And I truly appreciate your
My
hospitality.
pleasure, my friend. Anytime.
And it was just so awesome
Nothing's
meeting him and Nikko and Rob and having that moment, and then eventually meeting Jeb and Xander and Emily at the venue. The sound check. The sound check is a big, huge memory for me, just because we were all still in close proximity to each other, and we were down so close, and the band was just being the band. They weren't being the super band. They were just being the band, playing songs we don't usually get to hear. And then at the hotel back afterwards for the after party and the little setting in the hotel lobby, and that was our after party, and sitting in the hotel lobby and recording our video together and recounting and reviewing pretty much within an hour of getting out of the show. So yeah, that was in a memory outside of you guys. Probably one of my favorite memories is being there with Scott, and our certain songs would come on that we both love, like War Machine and Making Love, and we would be looking at each other singing lyrics to each other. I just hate when the girl says white. We were singing lyrics to each other, and the song would come on. We'd just look at each other. War Machine started, and then at the end, when they're singing Rock and Roll All Night, and that just kind of started, and it was a good, he kind of reached over and wrapped his arm around me and kind of, and it was just like, we started this journey. I think I introduced him to Kiss in probably 77, 78, when he was probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. And it was, and then we ended there. We'd been to many concerts together, but we had not been to a concert in a very long time. And he was very much a concert. He was sending me clips from Iron Maiden the other night. He was at the Iron Maiden show the other night. So I've not been to a concert since. I've been to one concert since. I've been to a blues concert that my wife surprised me with tickets for, from a blues musician called Keb Mo. And my next concert is going to be going to see Mini Kiss or Little Kiss in February. My wife bought me tickets for that. So
we saw them in Indianapolis. Dude, you're gonna love it. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yes.
They're great.
I'm looking forward to
Were
that.
they in
I
the
saw
Pepsi commercial, like back in the 90s.
Yep. That's the same band. Yep. Xander, I saw that you and Daphne got to go see them earlier than me, and but yeah, I go see them in February. So,
awesome.
But yeah, it was a day. It was a day of memories, and it was just awesome.
Nikko, brother.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's hard to follow all those because I agree on so many of them. I have a couple. One that was so funny. When we were waiting for the sound check, it was a little longer, I think, than they had planned, and we were next to one of the merchandise tables. And they just couldn't figure it out, man. I felt so bad. It was funny. We were watching the one young woman who was supposed to work who kept like every time like the person in charge walked, she would just like, I've never seen someone actively avoid work and get away with it. Yeah, she would like touch one thing, but like nothing. She didn't do anything. But we were sitting there dying because
her boss would walk by and she'd be like,
just a little, and then her boss would leave and she would turn around.
She'd turn around and get back on her phone.
They must have not been prepared or whatnot, or it was early because like they were struggling to set that up. I felt bad, but it was. I had never seen that. I had never been to a concert early enough to where they were setting up the merch.
No. You call me anytime. That's okay. I had some days I had to take off before because it was slow. How are you guys?
I'm gonna do some flair,
dude. Everybody,
you can tell none of them are Kiss fans, probably, because
they're
just like taking out these shirts and they're like the yellow one. They're just putting it on, like all this merch there, which is hysterical.
Dude, I'm just doing a job.
Yeah, right.
Where do I put these books?
Right.
Definitely the recording after was really fun. That was really fun.
Yeah, that was
it was so raw, so real. When we took the photo, but I think my favorite one is we had a listener a few seats down from us. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
tell that. Yeah,
we had a guy. I forgot if he tapped me or if he just waved. And I honestly blacked it out because at first I'm like I have like the pre-show anticipation. So when someone was trying to talk to me, I'm like, oh no, man, I'm there. But he's like, hey, I just want you guys to know I'm a huge fan. And I was like, I forgot the gentleman's name, but we shouted him out on the show. He's like, yeah, I listened to the show. You guys said you would be here. I didn't think we would be in the same section. I'm like, so that was really cool. Small world. All it takes one person, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We've
you were like, oh, you're the one listener. Thank you.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
We met our one listener.
Yeah, we met the one, but hey, as long as there's one, right? So I think it was cool.
Right.
Like we've met people who've listened to other shows and stuff before that we've done. So to have the one person at the concert in the same section who came up to say hi was really cool. That was cool. I think that was a cool like full circle moment for the three of us doing this.
Yeah.
And I guess one more moment is I don't remember. I forget if it was Dad speaking to like the energy of the band. I forgot if it was right before Do You Love Me but Tommy and Eric kind of let the other two guys walk to the side a bit where Gene's side was, and they kind of just like stood there together. Those two, the OG two, still there. And I didn't see them do that. Like they didn't do that during the pay-per-view, to my observation. So I felt like in the moment, I'm like, oh, that was cool. And then after the pay-per-view, I went, oh, they really felt something in that moment with us, with our crowd. So that was cool to watch them kind of do something that felt raw, unscripted, and kind of almost like we did this and we were like, yeah, you did that, kind of like this silent thank you for everything, so it was a cool night. It was a cool night. But yeah, that merchandise booth, they're having a hard time over there. I hope they're all good. I hope they had a great rest of their night. I hope they made money. I hope they sold well.
They're all still there tonight setting up for some show or trying to set up. Yeah. It's the same crew. It's the same everything.
Now it just says the Bulls on it or whatever. Like,
exactly.
Chicago Wolves or whatever.
Yeah, well, a funny moment that probably wasn't funny to Xander because I saw the look on his face when we're back at the hotel. Where everybody's setting up their cameras to film or whatever. So I'm like, I'm just going to set my camera down and just record, knowing that Xander's going to have the official video and everything. So I just set mine down and hit record.
I can tell you the answer. Why don't you put yours like Rob did on the lamp?
Will that work?
Or is something in the way?
I don't know if my
or rest it against the outlet. Yeah, I was going to say I might be able to do this.
Okay.
That's too far back. Dang it.
You try to put it right here? Or is mine's in the way?
I'll tell you what, I'm just not going to drink the money bags while we're doing it.
Hey, I got extra.
Oh, whoa.
Careful, Xander. That's fine. I'll get that. No, I have extra here.
Okay.
So if you want, you can drink yours.
Okay.
And then just put that there.
Awesome.
I just got that.
Awesome. Guys, it's going to be worth it when we're done.
Amazing.
Somebody needs to be filming now.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of a shit show this is.
You get your shot sent back up.
It's gotta be. You want to know how professional? You want to know how professional all of our shows are? Watch this.
We should send him that footage. Put that in at the very end. See if it sticks around. That's hilarious.
Xander goes to step over, knocks his tripod over, light and camera just hit the ground. And I was thinking, oh crap, that might be the end of it. And you could tell, like, we're all excited. Like we were already starting to talk, and I can almost see Xander like, shut up, say these stories. Let me get record or whatever. not that you said it, but I could just tell you were just wanting to get set up and just have that moment. But big shout out to your brother.
Oh yeah.
What a cool dude. I haven't had that many interactions with him, but just sitting there talking to him, like without like, oh, I know Xander, so I could talk to him. And maybe if Jeb's there, but like all of us were just having these random conversations with one another. And there's this cool little video, I think, that I shot that was maybe 2 minutes, maybe not even 2 minutes long, where I'm just holding the camera in our little, like what I call our green room or our blue room or whatever. And I'm just watching the video of everybody just milling around talking to one another.
So nice to meet you. It was so nice to meet you too. Look how far he flew over here. I was really worried that those shows were not going to happen.
Dude, that's right over. Yeah. That's boot right in the face right there. Dude, that's great.
So
I mean, and you guys are right directly.
Yeah, we were at the back of the floor, so that's like front row for Paul's mini stage.
Yeah.
Last minute. And so we were like,
that was too far. Too far.
It was absolutely crazy. It was like a last minute.
They basically used their money they were going to use on the sound check. The sound check sold out. They just used their money on the sound check. 4 chairs. I wish I would have thought of that.
For sure.
We should get a picture before they leave.
Yeah. You know, Nikko and Jeb having a conversation and Scott and Nick, and just that was just a cool moment. But a highlight for me musically was Black Diamond. That song in particular hit when the disco ball got lit up and Paul starts chiming again. We were talking about just the energy of the band before he like spoke to the crowd. I heard him take like an audible breath, like, okay. And I think maybe part of that was this is the last show in the heartland of where it was blood, sweat, and tears for the band. They're selling out in Detroit, they're selling out in Chicago, they're selling out in Indiana, and nobody else knows them in the country.
Yeah.
So I think those couple shows, and especially knowing that they're going to Baltimore and then New York after us, this is the last Heartland show that we're going to have. And I think for me, Black Diamond was that underlining. I remember looking at you, Nikko, when Paul started singing that little bit, just having the eye contact of like, there's one more left, and the night's over. So yeah, that was big for me.
I love it.
But we could keep this going on forever, so we'll have to do 2 years after Rosemont. This has been a lot of fun to do. And we probably only scratched the surface of it, but it's just in closing. But this last question that's going to go through: what has happened either to your channel or shows in lieu of Kiss? One of the last questions I asked of a last episode. So it is after December 2nd. What is the new thing for you? What is going to be that next band, that next thing, or is it just still Kiss? So I think I know for Nikko and I, maybe. But what have you done with your channel, or even just musically? What was the day after, leading up? Now a year has occupied your time musically, if anything. So let's start with Brant.
I still I've not been making videos quite as often, and it's not really been because I don't have content that I want to make, or because I don't have anything to say. Anybody that knows me knows that talking's my pastime. But it's just I've been real busy, and I thought that once the fall got here, but then we had our disaster. And so we've been kind of reeling from that. I do have a video that I'm working on with Carla, who's been in videos with me in the past. And I have a video that a series I'm going to be working on with AJ Zetro and Tommy. We're going to be doing a new series called Critical Kiss. I actually have the shirt right here. I contemplated wearing it tonight, but I'm like, nah, I'm not going to rep my channel, my series on this yet. So we were supposed to shoot the first video like 2 months ago. And then we were supposed to shoot it tonight before this. And then we decided not to rush. So we're doing it tomorrow. So that'll be coming. I've just got a lot of stuff I still want to do. I still have a lot to talk about with Kiss. I kind of live in the past with Kiss anyway. It's nice to have new, fresh things coming out and talking about, but I still kind of live in the past anyway. And Kiss has such a rich history and such an in-depth catalog that you can still do things like this. I've been admiring the series that Xander and Daphne have going on right now with The Elder. I mean, go ahead and make part 3 and part 4, man. Just go on. I mean, that album's got enough.
That's what I'm saying. I'm really enjoying it.
Okay.
That album's got enough depth there to be able to, you can just keep, you're a filmmaker. Go ahead and film your own version of it. You can hire us as some actors. I mean, I'll play Mr. Blackwell,
There you go.
I'll be Morpheus.
But I've got some other stuff. I mean, I've got stuff I want to tinker around with. I've got some holiday blow ups that's got some LEDs burned out in that I'm going to show people, make a video showing people how to change those out rather than going spending $40-$50 buying new ones. And I've got a VCR to fix and a VH and a turntable over here to fix because I before I did computers and IT work for local government, I was electronics. So, and worked for IBM for several years. So I know how to fix stuff like that. And some of my how to and help, fix it videos are, they still get views. I mean, they still get a lot of views and they still get a lot of questions, a lot of DMs, a lot of comments. So I just want to kind of continue to do that. And, my channel is always going to be very Kiss focused. I'm waiting on some new vinyl other than just they can't keep repressing the same albums over and over and over, just in different colors and different full packages or not, or whatever.
And
They're
I don't
eventually
need a T-shirt either.
And you don't need a T-shirt with it, and sell the things outside of a damn bundle. But I'm looking forward to. I knew that they're eventually going to get back on box sets, and maybe I would like to see them to maybe renew the off the soundboard. I loved us, like you were talking about, Nick, with the. There was a point in time there, man. We were blowing each other up, chatting, going, "Oh, you hear what the new off the soundboard's going to be? It's going to be Donington, or it's going to be
Donington.
It's going to be Des Moines." I loved whenever Des Moines was announced. So that excitement, you don't need to have the band to be inactive to still create that excitement. But I don't know how many more pressings of albums that I can buy. I've got 4 shelves here already, so. I'd like to have some new stuff. So, but yeah, my channel is going to continue to go on until I just don't want to do it anymore. To where I feel like I don't have anything left to say or to talk about, and then I'll just retire it and then just live off residuals.
There you go.
I'll just quit making videos.
There you go.
I'll just live off. I'll quit making videos and maybe make one every once in a while. There's this content creator that I follow. He had an active YouTube channel there for a while, and he still has a big following. He rarely makes videos. Every once in a while, like maybe every 6 months, he'll put a video out. Things gets thousands of views because people are just happy to see him post again. So who knows?
Very cool.
And your channel is, I should say, plug
in my head channel. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube.
Cool. Emily, what about you? What's occupied your time, and where can people find you if you want them to?
Okay. So I'm on YouTube and Twitter or X and Instagram at FlapperDame16, and on YouTube it says FlapperDame16 in parentheses Emily G. So I will always be up for talking about Kiss. The band has been in my life since I've been 2 years old. I was a fan of the band before I became a U.S. citizen.
Wow,
that's cool.
Yes, I became a fan of the band officially in 1998. I didn't gain U.S. citizenship until 1999. So there's that. On my channel, I will talk about Kiss, and then I started doing way during the beginning of COVID. During COVID, I read like 7 books. I read all 4 Kiss memoirs. I read Gone with the Wind, and then I read Maureen O'Hara's memoir, something like that. And then I like doing books. I like doing films, reviewing films, but I also want to review music. Like, I really want to review the Survivor album, Vital Signs.
My God.
I love that album so much. I
know.
Maybe we can make that happen.
Yeah, and I also know a satellite show that we can maybe take it over that direction.
Emily, I was around when that album was big. I was in my prime when Vital Signs came out.
But
That's
like,
a great
I've
album.
been thinking about reviewing that because I actually Nick, I'm sure you know, like, Jim Peterick lives in Chicago. I would love to go
I've met him
see
several times. Absolutely, yeah.
I would love to go see him in concert. Like, my dad got to see Survivor 3 times, both lineups. And I'm like, oh my God, you're so lucky. But I want to still talk about music. And then my one friend said, oh, you have to talk more about film. So I'm like, okay, I'll do film too. But so yeah, I'll review books, music, film. But there will always be a space in my life for Kiss because it is that prominent in my life. And I just want to say this as a mini PSA. I may be the biggest Kiss fan to have been born in mainland China. China has recently ended international adoption, and I am so crushed and just devastated that they are ending a process that saved my life. And I feel so bad that there are going to be children who are going to grow up in an orphanage because they're not going to get out. I just wanted to make that clear, even though that's I don't think that's political. I think that's more humanitarian. But I feel very lucky that I'm here and I'm talking with all of you, and that I can wait. Like, there's not going to be many Chinese American people in the future, but I think I can claim that I am the biggest Kiss fan from mainland China.
Hell yeah.
So,
We're lucky to have you, Emily. That's great.
We're lucky to have you.
Very lucky to have you here, hon.
Oh, thank you. But yes, so yeah, I'll always be up for talking about Kiss. If any, Brant, I would love to talk about Gene Simmons' Family Jewels with you, because I know you watch. Like, I am so up for that. I have this
Emily, we're going to have to make that happen. We've been talking about that for probably 4 years now. Me and you are going to have to definitely make that happen. We'll have to coordinate me and you watching episodes, and then just maybe talking about an episode, talking about the things in those episodes. We're definitely going to make that happen.
I don't know, that Elder episode may not be of interest anymore if this Family Jewels thing is going to take off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the Elder, what's occupying your time? I mean, I know it's occupying your time, but what's going on, Xander?
Well, yeah, Kiss Army things. I mean, we haven't really skipped a beat since, the whole end of the road. It's just been episode after episode. So we just, I don't know. I mean, I feel like during the tour, there were all these ideas that I wanted to do, but I kept putting them off to the side because of the tour. I wanted to keep up with what was happening now, and I'll get to all that other stuff later. So pretty much after the end of the road tour, it's just been kind of a free for all, whatever Xander wants to do, whatever is relevant now, all the album anniversaries and things like that. So we'll definitely continue to do that. But yeah, I mean, as far as like anything else like that, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of whatever I want to do. I try and keep a schedule, but things always, get changed around. So as far as like, music and all that, I mean, I think most of us here, if not all of us, are fans of The Warning, right? I've been listening to The Warning like crazy. And so their new album is awesome. We've been digging that. Yeah.
If you don't know who The Warning is, you need to catch up. My gosh.
So Rob,
their new album.
Yeah. When you put this out, you're basically going to say it's a warning, right? So
we have to keep those views up on YouTube. We have to put them in every title. It just has to happen.
That's right.
Dude,
the Road to Rosemont featuring The Warning.
The Warning. We're heading back to Rosemont.
Yes. There you go. Warning. I love it. So yeah, I mean, I'm always rock and roll, but Kiss will always be my number one, and that'll never change. So Kiss Army things will keep going for as long as it can.
Yeah. And I'll start it for the three of us, and I'll go down to you. Like I think maybe I'm speaking for myself here. We hit December 2nd, and I think on our show we just went. We took a collective breath, and schedules and life kind of got in the way. It wasn't due to anything. Since then, I've seen Seven Dust did their VIP and sound check for my 50th birthday. So getting a chance to meet another one of my favorite drummers. And let me tell you, the VIP soundtrack for Seven Dust compared to Kiss was monstrous, and did like the thousands of dollars. And for $260, I got to spend darn near 30 minutes with the band one-on-one, just talking. They were just kind of milling around. Got a 3 song sound check with them, got stuff signed, got a drum head signed, played from the night before.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So,
oh yeah.
But then probably the band that has kind of taken over in place of Kiss is Dream Theater as far as a live touring active band. And what they're celebrating their 40th anniversary right now, and they have a kabuki curtain that now drops. And they said they're doing this in lieu of another band that used to do it. So they've all but name checked Kiss. And Mike Portnoy cites Peter Criss as an influence, and Eric Carr as a big influence. So he said, since another band had a kabuki curtain, we now have one. So they drop a curtain, and they have a bunch of graphics and stuff. So I'm actually seeing them in March of 25. But yeah, for our channel, I think we've got some dust to kick off the tires and do that. So 25 should be looking better for us, and we'll see how the rest of the year goes. But what about you guys? What have you been doing since the new year, and what do you want to do on RBTE?
Well, I'll go first. So for me, I think that I think we got a Kissmas episode in us, right, Rob? I'm pretty sure that the three of us are gonna,
at least one more episode
before the end of the year. I think that I'm kind of refocused. I think you are, Nick, and I think that we're going to have some great ideas. We're going to roll off into 2025 because I'm not stopping. I mean, I as much as I love Kiss and stuff, I like Rob's ideas too of talking about some other bands and crossovers and doing all that kind of stuff. So I really feel like 2025 is going to be kind of like a little bit of a new beginning sometimes, like maybe a reset, a refocus, a re-energy. I want to close with one thing, but I will. Something happened to me. I'm a very my musical tastes are all over the board from being a Kiss fan, which obviously I started out really listening to Frank Sinatra and the the big bands and that kind of stuff as a young child, and it was Kiss that kind of took me into the realm of rock and roll, which led to Van Halen, Rush, and then Journey, Styx, REO, U2, Bon Jovi, and you just go right down the line. I felt like musically I was dying this year till I discovered a group called the 1975, who couldn't be any different, completely different music, complete different thing. What makes them great is they have a showmanship in their shows. They're somewhat theatrical for being a pop group, and the lead singer is a kind of a controversial figure, Matty Healy, but he's dynamic. He's incredible. He's one of the best frontmen I've ever seen. The band is as tight musically as anybody I've seen. Their genre of music, I would classify it as kind of pop. It's not like they've got a bunch of hit singles on the radio, but they're a really good group. If you're going to check them out, it was a Madison Square Garden show from 2022. When they're a little bit younger, they're a little bit different for me. I don't think I would have liked them had I discovered them at that point, but here we are here. So they've kind of reignited some musical stuff in me. And I will say this, we owe this to each other at some point. I don't know when, but it can't be too far into the future. I don't know. I know Kiss has got some stuff coming up and all that, but there has to be a summit where we all convene again and get together.
Yeah.
I think when we do we're going to spend a little more time together, and it won't be maybe so rushed and focused on it will be a singular event, but maybe we'll have a couple days to hang out, to talk, to eat together, drink together, just to get the camaraderie going again, because I think that we need that, and I think it's important to all of us here. The other thing I think is really cool too is that doing the show, Emily, you mentioned the three of you guys under 30. Well, Nick's scratching the surface. He's going to be 29 on Saturday, but he's getting there. He's getting close to that 30. But it's so heartwarming for me to see young people to know them, because I know when you go to the show you see them, but I don't know that all those young people know Kiss the way the three of you guys do, right? I see a lot of young people there. It's like Rob, when you saw Nikko with the shirt. I'm not saying they're not, but the three of you are like, it's so incredibly beautiful, the history that you have with Kiss, all your knowledge of Kiss, and it's something that we're going to need, because when we're gone, we're going to need the three of you to carry the torch on and, pass that down to generations or whatnot, because it's not going to be as easy now that they're gone. Right. So I'm pretty fired up, and unfortunately it took maybe all of us getting together here tonight and stuff like that, because life does get in the way, but I'm pretty focused again and fired up about Kiss and a lot of stuff. So thank you to everybody again.
Yeah, this has
Nikko,
been great.
Brother,
That's a hard one. That's a hard one to follow.
Nick, it's always hard to follow me.
It's a hard one to follow. No, I co-sign all that. I co-sign a lot of what people said. Yeah, I agree. For me, just really briefly, I do think there was a bit of maybe a void that we never talked about, right? I feel like when they were done, and I think it took, I'm going to speak for me and my dad. I think it took us some time to process, and life gets in the way, but I'm as focused as ever. And I think it was a nice little period of inconsistency, because I think it allowed things to kind of funnel in and funnel out. Mm-hmm. And I think also a show like tonight put a little bit more closure on the band than I thought. Right, I kept thinking I had closure, and then it wouldn't happen. The Warning is the second greatest band of all time. If Kiss is the first greatest band of all time,
Absolutely.
I got to show you guys something I got in the mail from them yesterday. I thought I would be able to do the show at home and show you, but it didn't work out that way. So I'll send it. We're gonna do a Warning show every other week. Could you imagine? We gotta try to keep those numbers up. I will tell you though, their fan base is so passionate and incredible.
Oh yeah.
They everything that they're connected to, their fans go out for it. But I'm just excited I'm excited to learn more in the next phase of the podcast. There was a lot with Kiss even that was untouched or, unseen or unheard by me. And I'm excited to see what other parts of the music world we're going to have. So it's just been an honor. I do hope we all could reconvene sooner than later. And I'm looking forward to see what this band. Yeah. I am very interested to see what they continue to give us and do. I want to see what that Avatar thing is. I'm not sure if anyone brought that up tonight, but I'll be able to do it. I need to know what that's going to be. I don't know if that was something that we were allowed to talk about or not tonight. But I'm very curious about that because I'm very curious to see. I know especially Gene Simmons will not. Gene Simmons wants to be eternal. I feel like I know him. So I can't wait to see how they try to do that. Yeah.
I think we should all just do one prediction, and I'll start it out. I got a feeling we're going to get in a live box set in 2025.
It'd be stupid not to. 50 years. Yeah.
50 years. You've got Dress to Kill and
I know we were talking about the first Kiss album, but I think that kind of came and went.
Yeah.
And I think with the new management group and all that, I think on a live box set done right with the trinkets and that is it Tom German or Tom? I don't know how to pronounce it. He's awesome. And those guys, Pasquale had them on, it was a good show. But that's my prediction because it's been dormant. And I too am offended by the t-shirt bundle. I don't need the t-shirt. Whatever. But I think I'm going to call that right now. That's my only prediction for 2025 and a live mega box set that I think will not only it will be the first time they incorporate video into the box set.
That'd be great.
Oh, whoa. I hope you're right.
It's just a prediction. I haven't heard anything, there's a few of us on the boards talking a little bit, but nobody knows anything for sure. So
not to make this go longer, but you can see the box sets right here. This top row is Dream Theaters. In every Dream Theater box set, they range for $170. For $170, you get vinyl, you get CD, you get a keychain. I had some of it up here. You get a thick CD, you get a poster, and you have an art book inside of it. So in lieu of the CD jacket, the CDs are in there, and it always comes with a DVD with the making of a concert video, all for $170.
Fantastic.
Kiss puts out $1,000 box set, and it's all the same trinkets and gadgets. Now it's just like
vinyl.
That's a whole segue. I'm already making the show go long enough. My last thing.
Don't ruin the show, Rob.
Everybody wants to. There we go. What do you predict, Rob? You go next, and then we'll.
Yeah, it has to be alive. And a live 70 or 75th, a live 50th something. It's got to be a box set. I don't want a repressing of the album. If it's going to repress the album, I want a video in it. So, yeah, I'm going to go box set too. Xander.
I want that 5-part documentary that Paul was teasing on Twitter and social media.
Yeah, about the final.
He was talking about the 5-part End of the Road documentary. Yeah. Unfortunately, I did hear on Facebook, Bill Starkey said that he got word that it's been handed off. The person that was working on it was this close to finishing it, and they had to move on to another project, and so now it's going to move on to somebody else. And who knows whether or not that's going to affect the time period when it does get released, or if it affects the whole release at all. If you guys remember in 2014, there was that You Wanted the Best, You Got the Best documentary that was going to talk about the 40 years of Kiss. And that documentary fell through. There was a poster, there was advertisements and everything, and then it just fell through. So I'm really hoping that this documentary does not become like that. I feel like ever since The Garden, ever since December 2nd and that pay-per-view, you know, Kiss fans have been wanting something to kind of get past that, because there were a lot of issues with that pay-per-view and the quality of it. So I just really want there to be something else to kind of wipe that clean. And I think that documentary would have all of the behind the scenes stuff that I think would give a lot of closure. I think Kiss fans didn't feel the closure they were wanting at the Madison Square Garden show.
I agree with you.
A lot of like, wait, what? And I feel like, you know, they were in makeup, they were in costume, and they were in character. And I feel like when they're off stage and they're not in the makeup, they're more vulnerable and they're more likely to be, more vulnerable. So I think that whatever is on that footage, whatever is in that film, I think is going to bring all of us the closure that we so desperately are wanting from December 2nd. So I can only hope that in 2025 we get that documentary.
Yeah. Nikko, your prediction?
They're going to do it off the soundboard. That's Kiss Goodbye 2020 Dubai.
Oh, dear.
I'll be here all week for anyone.
I have my Dubai merch right here, so I don't know if it's in here. I'll have to look.
I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm curious about the Netflix movie, right? Didn't they sell
the biopic?
The biopic.
Yeah, hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's
right.
Good. It's because there's been a couple and if you were a fan of this, I apologize. Netflix did the Motley Crue one, and I wasn't into that one. So hopefully it's just better than that. Wouldn't it be funny if theirs is so it just intrigues people who aren't even Kiss fans, but they want to see the Kiss one, and it blows up, and it's one of the biggest movies of the year. That could be fun.
That could be awesome.
Fun for us.
That's
but I don't know if that's
best
going
case
to happen.
scenario.
Yeah. Very best case scenario. The most realistic one is it'll probably be really decent, and we will all watch it and enjoy it. But people would be like, "Oh, they made the Kiss movie," and then not watch it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Emily, prediction for 25.
Jeez. Okay. Well, personally, in 2025, I want to see Gene solo. I think that would be cool, just because I've never seen him out of makeup. So that I think that's my personal goal. Kiss wise, but professionally, I don't know. They could put out a box set. What I personally want is I want the four of them to reunite in a room together and get a picture together, because they still can do it. They don't have to perform. They don't have to do anything. But I think about one of my favorite bands is the Beach Boys, and I think about where they are at this point in their career. They got about 10-ish years on Kiss, because they formed in 1961. But I think about where they are and how they just reunited for their documentary after 60 years back at Paradise Cove to talk. And they didn't really, they sang, but it wasn't like a concert thing. They just reminisced. And I want the original four to reunite in a room, maybe in New York, I don't know, and just be in each other's company again. Give us a photo before this isn't possible anymore.
Yeah.
I want them to really come together and realize 50 years later, we're all here still. We did something special, because they haven't seen each other in 10 years all together. Right. So I want that to happen. Will it? No, but I personally want that to happen.
Brant, bring us home.
Yeah.
Your prediction for 25.
You stole them all. Stole all my predictions. No, I do believe. I agree with Nick. I think we're definitely going to get an Alive an Alive box set. They're proud of Alive. They're proud of Destroyer. It really surprised me. We've got a Creatures box set. Creatures to me, they kind of always It was always the Redheaded Stepchild album that they acted like they didn't make, along with The Elder and a lot of albums from that era. But I definitely think we're going to get an Alive, especially with it being the 50th. The transition of the purchase and everything is done. We might have to wait for the 55th anniversary of the original album to get a decent box set out of it. I have hope for it still. I'm hoping that the biopic still moves forward. I believe that's. I don't think that's going to be this year. I think that's going to be more of a 2026 type thing. And I'd like to see some new stuff. I would like to see some more off the soundboard, or if they are going to release new things, release them inside of a box set, like with the things that they could possibly do with Alive. Like I said, I'm kind of getting tired of the just the repressing of the same things over and over and over, just a different color, a different type of packaging, different bundle stuff that you, but I definitely think, I think Nick hit it on the head of things that possibly could actually come true in 2025. It'd be that Alive box set, and we will all be making videos about it. So
there you go. Well, this is where we're going to put a pin in it, for probably one of my singular greatest Kiss experiences, or with being with all the faces and the few that couldn't be with us tonight. I just don't know how you get any better than this. Yeah, the band was great, but friendships were started because of all these podcasts, and I have text messages with all of you just of other random just stuff that all started because of all of our podcasts, and that my last Kiss show was with all of you. That's if all these podcasts end today, I would go, wow, we did a thing and we were all there. So on the behalf of Xander, Nikko, Nick, Emily, Brant, I'm Rob, and you've been watching The Return to Rosemont 1 year later. We'll see you guys on our show for Christmas. See ya.